43 million Americans are on the move. Across the country, the long Thanksgiving weekend got off to a hectic start. Weather forcing more than 200 flight cancellations today because of snow, ice, and wind. In North Carolina, a tornado blew the roof off this condominium, snapped trees, and downed power lines. Look at the map tonight. Most of the trouble in the Northeast. Parts of the country bracing for more cold and wind on the way. Our extreme weather team is tracking it all, and we begin with ABC's meteorologist, Ginger Z. Good evening, Ginger.
Hey, good evening, George. Who doesn't love a nice cold rain to kick off the holiday? Well, behind me, you can see the balloons that will go up tomorrow, likely. We'll be talking about that in a bit. But first, I want to show you the wreck that this storm left behind.
Sliding into the holiday from the Carolinas to New England, trudging through nasty wind and driving rain. The timing of this storm? Just cruel for the 39 million of us hitting the road this Thanksgiving. The pre-holiday hustle clogged in Tennessee, an oil tanker flipped. In Boston, gusty winds near 40 miles per hour. And in Atlanta, snow, the first measurable November snow that they've had since 1975. Along the East Coast, we've had a solid soaking with at least 1 to 2 inches of rain almost everywhere. In North Carolina, they're cleaning up after 2 tornadoes sliced into buildings, tossing debris.
When we heard it, it was just a high-pitch whistle-like.
And less than 24 hours after those tornadoes, snow.
It's snowing pretty heavy right now. The roads look like they're pretty slick.
They're used to that in Buffalo, New York, but tires were spinning today from there to lake-effect snowland in southwest Michigan, as travelers fought through those freshly frosted streets. And no, it isn't horrible everywhere. They're loving the snow at ski resorts like this one in Michigan. Whether or not, more people on the roads does mean more accidents. Check this out. On the night before Thanksgiving, Progressive Insurance found a 24% increase in accidents involving rear-ending and parking. Fortunately, this storm is out of here tonight. Behind it, wind and bitter cold, which has the balloons on high alert at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Any wind above 23 miles per hour would ground the beloved inflatables.
Officials are optimistic that the balloons will fly, that they should be just under that threshold of wind, but we'll make the final decision in the morning. I promise you it'll be dry, and if you watch me here on GMA right here tomorrow, I promise bitter cold. It's going to feel like the teens, George.
We're going to hold you to both promises. Okay, Ginger, thanks. Let's go now to those long lines in America's airports. Millions hoping their holiday flights don't end up delayed, and ABC's Ron Claiborne is at New York's LaGuardia Airport with a look at how they're doing. Ron.
Well, hey, George, things are actually going pretty well, surprisingly well. There were predictions of all kinds of chaos at airports on top of the traditional crush of travelers, weather-related chaos. But those dire warnings appear to have spooked a lot of people into leaving early.
In Charlotte, North Carolina overnight, the line outside the main terminal may have seemed interminable. And at New York's Penn Station, the concourses were packed with crowds of people trying to avoid the predicted chaos at the airport. But for the most part, travel on this day before Thanksgiving wasn't so bad. One reason? It seems days of warnings of an apocalyptic airport mess persuaded many people to depart yesterday.
The airlines offered passengers the opportunity to move their flights up a day. So we did a couple thousand extra passengers at each checkpoint yesterday to make today a little bit easier.
Of course, there were some flight delays and cancellations. Kelly Johnson got to LaGuardia Airport at 8 o'clock this morning for a 10:20 flight from New York to Raleigh-Durham.
I asked one of the American Airlines representatives. They say, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, your flight has been canceled.
No one told you
No
it was
one
canceled?
notified me, no.
7 hours after she got here, she finally made her way to security. In Atlanta, we met Rory Shelton, who didn't care if there had been a snarled mess at the airport.
And you're waiting? My husband, I'm sorry. And where's he been? Afghanistan.
She was waiting for her husband, Army soldier Jason Shelton, due to arrive today.
We're just ready for him to be home.
And on this eve of Thanksgiving, these images from airports around the country. A weary Santa waiting to tackle the security line at Chicago's Midway Airport. And at O'Hare Airport, also in Chicago, a little boy waiting to board a plane wearing what has got to be the best turkey cap, well, ever.
And if you're still traveling tonight, the TSA has these tips. You can bring pies through the security checkpoints, even turkeys. This as long as they're not live turkeys, and cranberry sauce. That is considered a liquid, has the same limitation any other liquid, 3 ounces. And George, all of those people traveling this week eventually are going to have to go back home. The vast majority of them travel the Sunday after Thanksgiving. This coming Sunday has the potential to be a real travel mess. George.
It could be a big one. Okay, Ron, thanks very much.